smelling right, luscious lips, dancing as you walk away.
Hey everybody, what's cracking? It's the Big D from the Big D Show. This is Divorce News Daily, and you know how we do. We go through some of the stories of the day, and we get some commentary on it, add my opinion to it. Hopefully you guys will comment on it and give your opinion as well from what you hear. So we're going to jump right in here and jump into our first story. This story comes from Slow Satisfaction 778 in the Divorce Reddit feed. And the title says, "Divorcing my wife would absolutely crush her, but I can't keep doing this." So we're going to see why he kind of feels like he can't go on anymore in the relationship. And it sounds like, you know, his wife is going to be hurt. He knows that she's going to be hurt, but it's something that he might just have to do. So let's get into it, see what he's talking about here, and see if we can kind of decipher anything from it, if we can learn any lessons from it, or gather any information that might be pertinent to us, or things that we might want to keep in the back of our mind. So he says this is a throwaway account. I will try to keep this short to the point. My wife, 41-year-old female, and I, 43-year-old male, have been married 9 years. She has 2 kids from a previous marriage that were young when we started dating. I know our problems are probably super common and insignificant to most, but any advice is welcome. So we're gonna see what kind of advice he's looking for. Our core issue is communication. It's hard for me to talk to her. She is dismissive of my feelings. She interrupts and talks over me. She argues with me. I just can't talk to her like I would a friend, if that makes sense. She doesn't do this in a mean or toxic way. This is just how she talks. I don't think she even realizes it. I noticed this very early on and have brought this up many times, but we just get caught in this endless cycle of frustration to which I usually just shut up or let it go. Okay, so now we already see some things kind of going on, a little bit of the dynamic in the relationship here. He's feeling like she doesn't listen to what he's saying when they're discussing things, and probably definitely not when they arguing. She seems like she likes to talk, but she don't like to listen. And so this is a major issue. If you don't have communication in a relationship, it's always going to be a struggle. So I can see why he might be getting a little bit tired and a little bit frustrated, because he feels like his word is not as valuable as her word, and she feels like her word is a little more valuable than his, and it doesn't matter maybe how he feels or how she says it. She's just going to get off her, her ideas, and she wants him to kind of accept what she's saying without really considering what he's talking about. He says she's dismissive of his feelings. So contrary to popular belief, men have feelings too. We do feel things. We have a heart. We know when things don't feel right. And so if we're expressing that, that's something that should be paid attention to, because men already are the type that don't really express their feelings. We've kind of been brought up that way because we've been taught that nobody cares what our feelings are. So if she's dismissive of his feelings when he's expressing that, that's never going to work, because he's going to shut down. Like he said at the end, he usually just shuts up or lets go, right? So that's a problem for him. He's frustrated with that. She interrupts him. She talks over him. So a lot of people, when you talk to them, they only listen to respond. So they're hearing what you're saying and just spitting out, what they wanna say. Maybe they're not even really listening too deeply into what you're saying. They might catch a few words here and there just to have something to rebut, but at the same time, they're not actually really paying attention to what you're saying. They're thinking about what to say to you next, right? Some of them talk so much, they just talk, and it's just spilling out, and they don't care that you have anything to say. So sounds like she maybe doesn't mean to do it. Could be a personality thing. He's saying she's not really mean or toxic in the way that she does it, even though it's probably the result is mean and toxic. It's not the way she means to do it, it's her personality. This is how things come out. So that might be something that, like he said, he noticed it very early on. He noticed this. So this is a red flag that he missed, right? So when we get the red flags, don't miss them, or don't dismiss them. just because you think like, oh, that's just this person, they're cool or whatever, I can handle that or whatever. Over time, it's like water and rocks. The Grand Canyon didn't get formed because what the rocks were just really strong and they could take the water. The water just over time just eroded it away, right? Eroded away. And it's the same thing in a relationship. When you get those red flags, eventually they're going to erode away at your spirit. They're going to erode away at your mental. And eventually you're going to get to the point where you can't take it no more, right? There's going to be an end. So now let's continue on. He says, she's also very emotional. A lot of the time when I bring up issues or have criticisms, or if we argue, she starts crying and shuts down, sometimes even refusing to talk or leaving the room. So it is expected that someone might be a little bit emotional. That's kind of something that you might expect from a woman. She's going to have emotions and she may process things a little bit differently than a man does. So he's bringing up his criticisms or things that are bothering him, whatever issues they're having, and he wants to talk about it. And, she might become emotional. She doesn't want to address it. And then she shuts down. So it sounds like he's shutting down, she's shutting down, and communication is definitely the problem. So I think he's nailed that there. So this might be something where what he needs to do is kind of get her in a situation where not talking about necessarily the other problems that they're having, but they need to address the communication problem that they're having. Maybe have a sit down and say, hey, listen, this is what I feel about our communication. I understand that you're not always happy with the way that I communicate with you. Is there something that I can do to make you more comfortable in communicating with me? So remember, people care about themselves, right? So if you're not giving her the space to tell you what she needs from you, or you're not giving her the platform to do that and really sitting back and listening and taking that in and then agreeing to make some changes, then you're never going to get anywhere, right? So she might be open to you talking to her more if you tell her, listen, I understand what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. And what I'm going to try to do is take what you've told me and implement that into the way that I communicate with you so that you're not unhappy. And I don't like to see you cry. I don't like to see you get emotional. But I'm here to support you in that. However, I don't understand right now how to communicate with you. And so that's why I'm asking you, what would be a good way for me to communicate with you? Now, if she tells you like, shut up and don't talk to me at all, then you got a real problem. But you probably can't fix that. But 9 times out of 10, she's probably going to have some things that she wants to say and probably some way that she's been feeling. And maybe her defensiveness with you and the way that she's acting is a reaction to the way that she feels like you're treating her. So find out, and then open the floor. I would start with her, since he's the one who's concerned about it, he's writing about it. I would start with her first. Try to make accommodations for her. And then say, listen, I understand that, I'm going to work on that. And this is the way I feel. And maybe this is something that you might consider when we're chatting and we're talking and we're discussing things or whatever. If you can consider this for me, this would be really helpful. I think that might be a solution for it. At least open the door of communication by talking about how your communication works, right? So now let's go on with this. He says, we have a dead bedroom. But that's probably indicative of the fact that you're not communicating and that you guys are really on 2 separate, sets of train tracks going in different directions, it seems like. So yeah, you have a dead bedroom. He said that came out of nowhere a few years ago. We had a great sex life prior. She went to the doctor once and therapy a few times and just thinks it's normal for married couples to have chore sex once every 6 to 8 weeks. Likely, she's literally stunned that I have an issue with this. I've brought up my feelings and needs to her, and due to the communication issues, it goes nowhere. So you might have some deeper problems there too. Now we're talking about an intimacy issue. It may stem from how she feels with the communication. Some of that is bleeding into that, but I don't think that's the whole issue there. I feel like Maybe there's something else going on. It could be something health-wise going on. She's 41, so now she's in that place where she could be in an early menopause or something. She could be just her chemical makeup is changing a little bit. Maybe her body's changing a little bit. Maybe she doesn't feel as sexy as she used to feel. Because like you said, before, sex life was great. Everything was cool and everybody was satisfied. But now maybe something's changed in her that's making her not feel as comfortable having sex, or the desire to have sex. Can be a weight gain issue. I know I gained weight when I was married. When I first came into my marriage, I was super athletic, played basketball all the time. 2-3 times a week I'd go out and play basketball and stuff. I was still very, very active, and about maybe 10 years in or so, or 7 to 10 years in, I became a lot less active due to job and working situation and all that stuff. I ended up working like a B shift or whatever, which was normally, like a 3 to 11 shift. And, when I would get home after like a 9 to 5, normally I would go play ball 7 o'clock at night till about 10 o'clock at night or whatever. And that kept me fit. But when I started working at B shift from 3 to 11, I kind of lost that ability to do that at night. And I wasn't motivated to go to the gym or whatever. And over time, you just start to gain weight. And so it could be a weight issue. Maybe she's not attracted to you the way that she was before. So maybe it's a thing where you got to get in the gym and start working on yourself a little bit, start jogging a little bit or whatever, get out there and be a little more active or whatever. And maybe she might see that and go, oh, okay, I see he's like trying to change. So remember, she's comparing to you what she sees on Instagram. She's comparing you to what she sees on social media. And maybe she's listening to women on talk shows and things like that saying what you should be like. And if you're not fitting that bill, maybe it's not going to work for her. I'm not saying everybody's got to fit that bill, but it's something that you could really think about. I think a good thing that she did mention too that he did mention is that she did go to the doctor at least once. She's been to therapy a few times or whatever for this situation. So that's good. I think that's something that we all can take stock of and just remember that there is help out there for us if we need it. There should be therapists and individuals that can help us. I'd love to have somebody who deals with these types of situations kind of come on the show, and maybe we do some type of live or we do some type of recorded show or whatever, so I can ask some questions, field whatever questions you as an audience have, and then maybe ask a professional these questions, because I'm not a professional. I'm just spitballing off the top of my head what I think and what I see from the situation and just from experience. But we might get some professionals on the show. If we can get to that level, we'll get some professionals on the show. So like and subscribe so we can try to get the numbers up and all that stuff and attract somebody great to come to the show and talk to us. All right. All right. So let's move on to the next one here. Let's see here. I think that one was going on just a little bit long. I don't think I want to deal with that one. Here, I don't have a name on it. Says, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not perfect. I've gotten to the point where I don't even care. I don't even want to talk about the issues. I know exactly what she will say or what will happen. I know this is unhealthy of me, and I take ownership of this. But I just feel exhausted. I want to talk and try to resolve issues. My brain just won't. Sometimes I don't even want to be around her. So yeah, man, we get tired, man. It's not easy when you're dealing with stressful situations. Nobody wants to deal with that, right? You deal with stress from your boss at work or your business, and you got all these other things happening, and you're trying to raise the kids, and you're trying to make sure everybody's happy as a man. That kind of falls to us a lot of times. And we just get tired, man. It's just draining sometimes because we have so much flowing out and nothing coming back that it's just hard to keep up with. And everybody's emotional and physical makeup is not built to handle that stress. I don't think any of us are built to handle that stress. So that's something that we got to deal with. And this is probably why he says that, he's exhausted here. So it is good that he recognizes that. Like he said, it's unhealthy. You can develop heart problems. You can, have problems related to stress, and your health. Those are not good things. So sometimes it is good to kind of separate yourself from a person a little bit, maybe walk away from those situations, deal with them a little bit less. You don't have to sit there and fight every tooth and nail and fight every single little battle. You don't have to do that. Sometimes you could walk away, give some space, take the space you need mentally for your mental health, and and then go from there. But it's going to get tiring after a while. He says, I do try to be a good husband. I do most of the housework and yard work. I cook all the meals. I'm a great dad to her kids and have an awesome relationship with them. I show her love and affection without the expectation of sex. I don't bug her about sex. I buy her gifts, do thoughtful things for her, take her on dates, etc. So we're getting a little bit of a picture of what else is going on there. Yeah, now we're finding out why he's a little bit exhausted, because he says he does, most of the housework. So she's not doing the housework. So we don't know whether she's working, whether she has a career, and what she's doing with that. He does the housework and the yard work, and he's cooking all the meals. So she's not even cooking. So a woman normally likes to cook at least for her children, right? So it's kind of like a love language, a way to show love to your man, like when you cook, and men really cherish that. And if he's doing all the cooking, I can see why, he's feeling like, okay, I got to go earn all the money. I got to put the bread on the table, but then I also got to prepare the bread too. Like, that's tough. So we don't know. He doesn't really say, what he's doing work-wise just yet. Whether he's working or she's working or whatever, that could play a part in it. I'm not going to put it all on her. If she's got some other stresses from work and things like that, it's possible. But he's saying like he's showing her love and affection. He's doing that without the expectation of sex, which is a part of a healthy relationship. It's not some give and take thing or whatever. It's something that you do in your relationship that's healthy and can help you gauge a little bit of the health of your relationship, right? It looks like it's just lopsided a little bit. The scales are not balanced. He's feeling it's out of balance, and this is why he's having trouble. And then to go and talk about it, he's not getting any satisfaction there either. So he continues on and says, it's hard being with the one you love and having them treat you like a roommate. Now I'm treating her like a roommate. But we're great roommates. We get along great. We're nice to each other. But I'm also so starved for attention and affection. I feel like an empty shell of myself. And at this point, I'm sure she is too. I know she's unhappy. The last year or so, she gets home from work and just goes and lays in bed and watches Netflix. We had a talk the other day, and I brought up maybe we're not as compatible as we thought. She was absolutely shocked and upset by this. I told her all the reasons why, and somehow now everything is my fault. I suggested we go to marriage counseling to have a neutral third party, and she doesn't want to go. So we got to understand that some people, well, most people, I would venture to say, kind of get complacent at a certain level. And this is just manifesting in her, right? She's got kind of the life that she wants. Maybe she's with the person she wants to be with, or she's with the person that at least she chose and said she wanted to be with. And she's decided, well, this is my life. I can't change it. Nothing's going to get better, but I don't want it to get worse at the same time. So let me just coast. So it's not exciting for her anymore. She's not feeling the excitement there. There's no electricity when you guys are together or whatever. You're nice to each other, but you can be nice to the person on the street, right? You can be nice to somebody that you just met. But maybe because you know each other now, you've been around each other now, a little bit of the luster has worn off, not as shiny as you used to be or whatever. And it doesn't sound like she's cheating. Doesn't sound like she's got some other interest, because you would notice some other activities and some other actions that she'd be doing. And it doesn't sound like the guy has done it yet, but I almost feel like he's kind of headed down that road. You can feel the deficiency that he's expressing. It's like, listen, I need affection. I need somebody who's active with me and being in my life in the way that I need them to be, and I'm not getting that. And so you can understand how now it's like if someone shows him a little bit of affection from the outside, then all of a sudden those wheels might turn, and they might start turning for him to actually go out there and do something. Not excusing it, but sometimes if you become complacent and you treat your significant other like they're not important, and you're not listening to them, and you want to just sit back and watch Netflix and not engage, then someone else is going to do that, and they're going to see some value in your partner, and they're going to come in, and next thing you know, your partner is in a relationship with this person. Could be an emotional relationship with them, could be a physical relationship with them. Whatever deficiency is there and whatever's lacking, they're going to make up for that. We're human. We're not robots, and even though the rules say you can't do this, doesn't mean that our emotions are not going to tell us that we can't go out and do it anyway. So that's something that she might be driving this man into the arms of another woman. And that's not what she wants, obviously, because he says that, she gets upset when he talks about what the issues are. And he talks about them not being compatible. I mean, he's already bringing up that word, compatibility. Maybe we're not as compatible as we thought, which is kind of saying like, maybe we should be with other people. Maybe I'm not your guy. Maybe I'm not your person. It looks like this might go down the road of divorce. I just kind of feel like it might, just because, he said that he wanted to go to marriage counseling. She doesn't want to go. She's not interested in fixing the relationship. But when he does file for divorce and sends her the paperwork or whatever, then all of a sudden there's going to be this explosion of emotion, and she's probably going to start talking or trying to fix it. But I think he's going to already get to the point where he doesn't want to fix it, and that's not where she should allow this to go. And it sounds like he's giving some effort, and he says he loves her, right? He says he knows that she loves him, but I don't believe that this is love. I believe this is maybe some tolerance. I believe this might be a bit of friendship. In a way, I think this might be kind of like how you have some family, and maybe you don't really get along with them, but you love them because they're your family. It's a different kind of love than a romantic love between a woman and a man. So there's some love there. Maybe she don't maybe want to see you get hurt, but she doesn't love you enough to be your partner. And that's probably something that you got to consider when you think about love. So let's continue on here. He says, I love her and I know she loves me. She has no intention of ever separating or divorcing. This would be the biggest rug pull of her life. I don't want to either. Her kids would be gutted. Something else you got to think about, right? Because she has the 2 kids. Our families are so intertwined, they would be devastated as well. But what the hell? I feel like an idiot. I don't want to give ultimatums, but I feel marriage counseling is the next step. If she refuses, I don't know what to do. So this was actually excruciating and mundane to type all this, as I'm sure it was to read. No, we enjoyed it for the purposes of the channel, for our learning purposes, for our ability to kind of make sense of life, make sense of relationships, make sense of how divorce actually sprouts and comes about. This is all good information, so it is good to share. Sometimes it's good to write it down, because now you can see it on paper, or you can see it on your phone. Like, okay, this is what's going on, and this is what's wrong, and maybe you can begin to analyze it a little bit. So hopefully you can get some help. Hopefully she's willing to go through some counseling. I know he says he doesn't like to give ultimatums, but you might have to give the ultimatum on that one. Like, listen, I don't want to get divorced. You don't want to get divorced. That's probably not the great idea for the kids. So we need to go and fix the relationship, because we can't continue to live in a broken relationship. It's not healthy for us. It's not healthy for the kids. And we're not going to be able to progress and reach any types of goals that we have for our life if we don't get some type of help here. If you were sick and you were feeling bad every day, eventually you're going to go to the doctor. If you keep ignoring that feeling, you keep ignoring it, it might be too late by the time you get there. So it's the same with relationships. You feel it not feeling good. You feel like you're not feeling well within it. It's not functioning well. You know when it's not right. So you got to go get some help at some point, right? If you're not communicating with each other, maybe you can communicate with this third party. You never know. You might find someone who can bring those things out of you and can fix the way that you think about things, right? they can help you move in that direction. Maybe not fix it, but they can help you move in that direction of thinking about things in a different way or from your partner's perspective. Not everybody has that ability. So maybe they can push you in that direction or bring things to your attention about yourself that maybe you're not aware of. So counseling is probably a good thing. Therapy is probably a very good thing. Sounds like this is what this relationship needs. And if she's not willing, though, then like you said, you might have to kind of disappoint the family. It'd definitely be devastating for the kids, but you have to kind of do what makes you happy. You have to do what makes sense for the relationship that you're in. Some people have to learn the hard way, so they can't just be in your life blocking the door, to your happiness. They can't be in the way of your happiness. And you only get this one life, right? How long you have on this earth to go around. And if he's already, I think he said 43 years old, she's 41, he's 43. When are you going to start living your life? When are you going to be happy? So I hope you find a way, to convince her that this is important. And anyone else that's listening, I hope that you find a way in your relationship too, where you can take some pointers from what we talked about here today. And like I said, I'm not a relationship guru. I don't know everything. I want you guys to, comment and talk about things. Tell us what your experiences are. When I can do some lives and stuff like that, I think I got the cord yesterday right here to hook the phone up or whatever. Hopefully I can set it up where I can use the camera, do some lives and stuff like that, and we can do some interviews, and I can use the computer to do all that stuff, technical side, so that we can get some people in here and we can have some real live, nice discussions that help people. So once again, it's your boy, the Big D. I'm glad that you hung out with me today. I hope that you're enjoying the show. Like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Skin popping, smelling right, luscious lips, dancing as you walk.